Good morning, everyone. This is Joanna Rolick, and I am the Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce. And it's always my great privilege and pleasure to be the first at the microphone at these events, which is great. So here we are. This is our annual Breakfast with the Mayors, which is our opportunity mid-year to be able to find out what is happening in both of our towns. We have our presentations in January, which is when our city manager and the village administrator do their wonderful, I call it the dog and pony show, but Drew, where are you? Yeah, there you are, right? But they do a wonderful job. So we have a rundown in January of what to expect for the year. And then mid-year, we have this update and we can find out how things are going. So we're very much looking forward to this, and we'll get into it in just a moment. First of all, a big thank you to both Lake Forest Bank and Trust and to Amada. Amada is our sponsor with the bank this morning for this presentation. And I just wanted to ask our friends from Amada to please stand up. Thank you so much for supporting the chamber and what we do, and to add to the bank as well. Lake Forest Bank and Trust is just amazing. So we thank them very, very much for this. And I want to do a shout out to two other people today. One is Michael Delott, who is the photographer back there. Michael Delott supplied many of the photos that you're going to see in this book. And we cannot thank you enough, Michael, for using your talents. I also want to do a shout out to Bruce Himmelblau of Blue Sky Video Productions. Bruce video records these every year, and he's done it as long as I have. And Bruce, I'm in my 30th year here, so you've been doing it that long too. So just saying. So it's been a minute, but we've got it down to a science at this point. But Bruce is wonderful. Bruce is also has done the video recording and produced the podcast. Where's Kathy O'Hara? Kathy O'Hara from the Lake Bluff History Museum. We decided to do a podcast on the history of Lake Bluff, and Bruce is the one who put it together with us. So thank you. That's just such good fun. But that is also just what I see when I look out in this room. This is community. This is representations from our schools, our religious institutions, our businesses. We have civic people, civic leaders. We have nonprofits here, and I was so glad to hear about the news that you had with the nonprofit I Care. Any rate, just wonderful things. This is community. This is Lake Forest and Lake Bluff. This is what we celebrate, and it's all about the collaborations and the kind of things that we put together. So that's what we do, and we want to continue doing. So we're very, very happy to be able to have this event. So without anything more from me, I'm going to introduce our two speakers for today so they can get into their presentation. The first one is Regis, I was going to say Philbin. Okay, Regis Charlot. Am I tired? I have no power, no anything. Okay. Sorry, Regis. Regis Charlot. Regis Charlot is the village president of Lake Bluff. He is a technology entrepreneur, inventor, and civic leader with more than 30 years of experience in healthcare information technology and enterprise software. As a founding member of Intelligent Medical Objects, IMO Health, he helped develop the clinical terminology solutions used in most U.S. electronic health records. He also served as the original architect of the Allscripts Professional Electronic Health Record, is first inventor on 25 U.S. patents, and is a fellow of the American Medical Informatics Association, the AMIA. Regis is the founder and CEO of Jupiter Peak, a cloud-based software company serving the ski, snowboard, and bicycle rental industry. He also serves as village president of Lake Bluff, where he has championed infrastructure investment, fiscal stewardship, and thoughtful community planning. Regis and his wife Leanne have raised their two children, Percy and Tad, in Lake Bluff. And today, our mayor of Lake Forest, Randy Tack, could not attend with us due to an issue that he has, the poor man with his back. And we have with us today John Powers, who is alderman from Ward 2. John moved to Lake Forest with his wife Robin in 1995. He graduated with a BA in economics from the University of Missouri Columbia and received an MBA from Lake Forest Graduate School of Management in 2000. John began his sales career in 1888. I gotta go back to in 1988. Working for Scott Paper Company over 35 years, he held numerous executive positions in both public and private companies in the fields of distribution, logistics, business development, marketing, supply chain, private equity, and most recently as Director, National Accounts at Abbott Diabetes Care. John has served on numerous committees in both Church and School of St. Mary, is a Ward 2 member of the Lake Forest Caucus, an executive member of the Friends of Lake Forest Parks and Recreation Board, a trustee of Lake Forest Community High School District 115, and a board member at Cristo Rey St. Martin College Prep High School in Waukegan, Illinois. He has served as Lake Forest Alderman for Ward 2 since May 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please welcome both John and Regis to the podium.
Good morning, everybody. I'm happy to be here, especially since I had the privilege of growing up in Lake Bluff. So Lake Bluff is near and dear to my heart, and there's nothing better for Regis and I to be able to talk about except all the fun and exciting things that are happening in both of our communities. Very quickly, we're going to focus on 5 topics. As you can see, we're going to start with finances. We'll do some planning updates and kind of share with you the process and procedures we go through from that perspective. Talk about capital improvements. There's a few other initiatives and then happenings that are going on in town. And that's an easy thing because we don't have to walk or drive very far to see all the development that's happening both in Lake Bluff and Lake Forest. Oftentimes I'm asked, what's the most important thing you do as an alderman? And I think I can speak on behalf of some of my alderman colleagues that are here. It's really maintaining the finances of the city. And that starts with a balanced budget. So that went all the way back to our charter, which was in 1861. And the first city council, their priority was to make sure that they always balanced the budget. That then trickles into what we now have the benefit of using, which is a AAA bond rating. And that's incredibly important because given at any time with a big capital improvement, as we've experienced over the years, whether it be Deer Path Park or our new police station that'll be unveiled later this year, it really helps not only current residents save taxpayer money, but those that join the community years down the road, that long-term necessity of the bond costs and expenses are kind of diminished that way. The other thing that's incredibly important is healthy financial reserves. So our budget process really begins the minute our current fiscal year kicks off, which was this past May. So Katie Skibby, our Director of Finance, along with her team, immediately start working on fiscal year 28. And that's important for 2 reasons. Number one is to find and identify reserves that were properly protected in the case of an emergency. COVID is a good example of that from years ago. And the other is to really funnel the necessary funds that are needed for our capital improvement plan. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. The last element from a budget perspective, well, really 2 more elements. One is public-private partnerships becoming more and more popular. It's important for people and residents in our community to participate in that process. And oftentimes, they're the first one to raise their hand to say that they're willing to support certain projects. And there's numerous examples of that around town. I'd like to just end this section really quickly talking about our police and fire pension. A city council 10 years ago made the strategic investment to put a little bit more money in each of those pensions, knowing how important it is for us to maintain that. And then ultimately, the state of Illinois is requiring us to be at 90% funded by 2040. So we're happy to report as of last week, our police pension is at 73% funded and our fire pension is at 83 and change funded. We're proud of that. And again, it's the long-term insight that prior, city managers, prior mayors, and prior city councils have really invested in our community.
Thank you, John. On our side, our finances have been very stable for the past 3 years. The only difference this year is we have, for the first 3 months, we have a dip of about $67,000. And that actually reflects, and this is the curve in red, that reflects the elimination of grocery taxes in Illinois. And we have chosen not to reinstate the grocery tax for the village of Lake Bluff. One thing, we are also AAA rated by Moody's, and we have a JFOA awards. One thing that is important and that you will see on the next slides is today is a moment we have been preparing for the past 10 years. We are making major capital improvement in the village. And so our reserves were at 95%. They will go down to 50%, to 52%, the minimum we can do, because we're improving our community. And you must have discovered that on Green Bay Road or on North Avenue or thinking about bridges. And so you will see that in the next few slides. There's one more thing. And to follow on John, for our pension fund, we are at 67%. That is an improvement on our side, applying a very conservative finance policies in our town. John?
Okay, let's talk about planning. This is anchored in what was our 5-year strategic plan. So George Isaku, our assistant city manager, really did a year-long project reaching out to the community. It started with a community-wide survey. We have 1,400 family responses to that survey. We had numerous community interactions. We had focus groups, and then we had feedback on an ongoing loop after each one of those sessions. Now, what that did is it formulated this. So our 7 priorities, strategic priorities, percolated up from all those discussions. And we did a rank order process as well to identify which ones they felt were a higher priority. That's immediately tied to the goals we give our city manager, Jason Wisha, and then his senior staff. So we have the strategic overview. They have individual goals that are connected to this plan, and then they have individual tactics that support a lot of those initiatives. It's been a really healthy exercise, and it's one that's constantly helped us, not only from budgeting or capital improvement, but it helps us stay in touch with the community. Dana does a fantastic job every Friday sending out an email to the community. That's kind of the Friday update. And oftentimes we identify how we're tracking against this initiative. And it's one of the things that has been a proven technology or a proven process for us to kind of stay on task and constantly be focusing on the priorities from the community. Okay, long-range planning, which is really enhancing, not reinventing, as it states up here. It's when we look at these 3 key areas, whether it's central business district, residential development, and wireless service improvement, it really starts with us trying to maintain our central business district, constantly being in touch with those business owners and those retailers that support our community and provide increased quality of life and increased service. It's a challenge oftentimes, but we're very fortunate that we don't really have a lot of, lower tenant participation. And that's true when we look at our Waukegan Road, Settler Square development as well. And then same thing with our downtown central business district. There are 2 things of note. Those of you that are familiar, the Einstein's Bagel Space has been empty for quite some time. Happy to report there's lots of activity there between tenants and landlords. And then Forest Bootery is another one that's been vacant for quite some time. So that's incredibly important from a downtown vitality perspective. And along with that is all the great restaurants we have in town. Now that creates an added challenge with traffic and parking and all those other things that the city is working aggressively to try to manage. Parking specifically, because we want to make sure we get customer closest to businesses, allow them to have ample time to be there. And we revised some parking codes this last May to make sure that that happens. When we talk about residential development, those of you that are realtors in this room know there's not a lot of inventory in town. And particularly people that are looking to build a new home, That's a challenge because either the space that's available is in a wetland or it's on a floodplain, and that creates challenges in and of itself. So what's happening now, we get about 15 homes a year that's redevelopment of existing homes that have already used their useful life, older homes that may not support the family that wants to buy that particular property. And that helps us obviously with some development, but we're still really strained in that particular area. Now, from a residential standpoint, part of the good news is funding has finally become available from the state, from the county, and we've made some investments locally for senior housing. So our senior housing project is out off of Telegraph Road in Everett, the northwest corner, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And we're looking to develop 12 senior housing developments in that particular area. Lastly, wireless services. Ongoing challenge for everybody. There's spots in town where service isn't as good as we like it to be. There's spots in town where there is no service. We're working diligently to try to solve that. And it starts with the new tower at the recycle center. So we've patiently been working with the developer or the construction company to put that tower up, but that's been a challenge in and of itself. So we're working to make sure that once that happens, it may improve not only the service offering, but the square footage available to improve cell service. And we're doing that throughout town. We're doing it related to mobile companies are putting hotspots on current utility poles. That's going to improve that overall offering. And then, of course, lastly, antenna upgrades. With latest technology, that upgrade for existing towers that probably have been there for 10 or 15 years, we're trying to upgrade that to improve that space as well, particularly as you get close to the beach and closer to the Fourth Ward. Bank Lane, those of you that have walked that pedestrian corridor, we're very proud of having that available. And those of you that participated in our July 2nd Bites on Bank Lane was a very fun event. It was crowded at times. However, the feedback from both business owners and residents was fantastic. We're hoping to do more and more of that. The vision with Bank Lane, which has been discussed for years, is finally coming to fruition, and we have plans not only to host more pedestrian events there, but we have plans to expand it. So in our capital improvement plan, the next strategy is to move that from Market Square to Westminster, and then eventually from Westminster all the way down to Wisconsin by Homeland or by Hometown. It was a fabulous event. It's one of those things that makes Lake Forest very unique. We're proud to have been able to offer that as part of kind of our downtown central business district redevelopment, which was directly tied to, of course, our Deer Path, beautification project as well.
On our side, this slide is very much of a follow-up of the report provided by Drew in January. We refreshed our comprehensive plan, and our plan was very much to address what we call our missing middle. We do not have, from the gradation of a building with multiple units to single family dwellings, we didn't have much of a gradation. This plan was there to create a plan for people willing to create new possibilities in Lake Bluff and for having ADUs for basically your grandma's suite in the backyard. That was our plan. The block 3, the picture at the bottom left corner, is the first concretization of that plan. We are here now saying to developers, you are invited to come and you're invited to downtown or to Lake Bluff, and please come and develop our community with us. We're very much looking to expand for senior housing and different other types of housing. And so block 3 that you see is the building that is now where our that defunct bank building was, and it is meant to be looking like the rest of downtown, the same line, the same architectural characteristics to downtown. The next 2 curves are actually very interesting to me from an insight standpoint. The top right curve is the median value of houses in Lake Bluff from 2019 to 2026. In 2019, the median house price was $470,000. Today, it is $970,000. On the same, at the bottom bottom right corner is the total amount of houses for sale in Lake Bluff during the summer. In 2019, it was 120 houses on average. Today, it is 12 houses. It actually is also a concretization of our comprehensive plan where we want to make Lake Bluff a destination community. We want to open Lake Bluff. We want people to be in Lake Bluff. And you will see that on our capital improvement plan. You'll see how we actually frame that for the different opportunities for enhancing our community, and also how we welcome people to come around our green. Block 1, that would be the brewery, or Block 2, that would be Scranton Avenue.
Okay, capital improvements. I alluded to this a little bit earlier. This is a 12-month process, and it's a process that oftentimes starts 6 or 7 years in advance. So when we start identifying needs and wants within the community, a lot of this is driven by the Public Works group. They realize what our infrastructure looks like. They realize what the feedback is from all their interaction with community residents. And we kind of develop a capital improvement plan associated with that and the corresponding funding. So it's not unlike our ability, I'll use South Park as an example. South Park, come next summer, we're finishing phase 2 of that redevelopment. We've received 2 over $600,000 grants from the state of Illinois to do that work, but it's taken us 4 full years to complete that process. So sometimes it's a little meticulous in terms of kind of the planning and the time frame associated with it. But like a lot of projects, I think in both of our communities, you get the headaches early on, kind of fighting through them, but when they're completed, they are always fantastic, and they're a great addition to our community. I want to highlight a couple. There's 10 that's up there, but the funnest one for the kids has been the new playground at the beach. That's been incredibly popular. We started that last October, and then many of us were just recently at a ribbon cutting at Waveland Park Pavilion. We put a brand new pavilion and shelter there that had been planned for the last 3 or 4 years that we were finally able to complete, which is fantastic. The last 2 that aren't nearly as fun and sexy as those prior ones are our Wesley and Waukegan Road development. So that's incredibly important because the amount of accidents that we had at that corner was really concerning, particularly since Lake Forest High School has their sports campus there. So at peak hours where the kids are running back and forth, that was always a challenge. So again, with a grant from IDOT, we're widening that intersection. We're putting turn lanes in all 4 areas, making that a little bit safer. I'm going to foreshadow next summer, because next summer we're doing Everett and Waukegan. That's a little more complicated because we have the West Lake Forest Fire Station and we have the train station there. But for the exact same reason, we want to make sure that thoroughfare, that lead into the city, is kind of being properly managed from a safety perspective. So we're excited to kind of share that news, and there'll be more and more things that you'll hear and see from us going forward. Okay, public safety. You saw our strategic plan. Public safety was the number one thing that came back. Right alongside 1A and 1B was fiscal responsibility. We're very proud to be opening a new police station sometime by the end of the year. It's been a great project. It's one that's taken a tremendous amount of community input. We were very opportunistic in this area following Mayor Tack's leadership when it came to identifying an available property. So when we knew we could buy the 1925 field court facility for $3.5 million, it was just the right long-term decision for us to make. So we're excited for that to come to fruition, and you'll hear much more about this from the mayor and the city manager as we move forward throughout the year. Now, what's that do? Well, it allows us to vacate the current public safety building with the police department and now re-envision and redevelop the current public safety building for the fire department. The needs that the fire department has are similar to what the police station has in terms of training, new technology, learning spaces, just, health and safety, especially as the fire department comes back from a call, all the things that are necessary from a chemical standpoint, particularly if it's an active fire, to protect them in that area. We're excited that that project's going to kick off in January, and we'll continue to communicate through Dana Olson, our communications director, to share with you kind of all the ins and outs and ebbs and flows of that project going forward. Both of them were anchored in an advisory group that contained anywhere from 10 to 12 residents that really helped us shape those projects.
Our first capital project I would like to bring your attention to is our Scranton Avenue Block 1 project. This is actually the final phase of our downtown redo. Our goal is to make Lake Bluff a destination community. You want to be coming to Lake Bluff, you want to enjoy Lake Bluff, you want to be in the street, you want to be enjoying our restaurants and our brewery. This space is curbless, it's flat. We can have block parties, and you'll see that we have quite a few block parties this summer. It is very much a continuity of design in Lake Bluff. It is a replica of the same design. You will see curbless, you will see natural plantings, native plantings, so less water. You will see a continuity of space. You will see enhanced space for putting tables, for restaurants. We want people to be there. If you have been in Lake Bluff on a Saturday morning at 6:30, 7:30, you will see hundreds of people showing up. It's weird. It's fun. I'm a runner, so I'm there. But it's what we want. What you see here is, this is block 2, the view to the brewery. This is the other side of the brewery. This is actually a top-down view of the same side. It's meant to be a space to be enjoyed by people. It is very much what we have been designing for the past 4 or 5 years, as long as I've been on the board. That is what we want. We want a welcoming space in Lake Bluff. That was the night where USA was playing against Norway, was it? It was Norway. People showed up. When the resident, Josh Fox, put a screen up, hundreds of people showed up. That's what we want. This is the space we have imagined. And the price for that was about $1 million to finish our downtown. So it was, from my stand, it's a money well invested to actually open our community to people. Again, we have 2 other houses for sale. And people in the street are telling me, we love that space, we want to be here, we're from Lake Forest, and we want to be here celebrating these possibilities. We were discussing about having this street being a one-way. We thought about to keep our parking spaces, because if you have been on a market day, this is mayhem, it's fun. So we have tried to do the best to keep as much possible usable space for residents and cars, for example. Another project for us that is incredibly important to the community of Lake Bluff is our deep tunnel. And this is basically managing stormwater in the village of Lake Bluff. This is basically a 74-inch pipe going from the viaduct, basically next to the train station, all the way to Ligandale, that is at the end of North Avenue, Lake Bluff. That pipe is then, we connect a bunch of sub-pipes to drain the village of Lake Bluff. That is the vision. That vision has been here for 20 years. We have been preparing for 10 years, financially speaking, to create that pipe. We have now created the first half, that is from the lake all the way to Moffett, thank you very much. That pipe is on the ground. We're now waiting for financing from the state, okay? But that pipe will go all the way to below the viaduct, and it will be a major improvement. What I see in that project is we finally get to dry up Lake Bluff, okay? Therefore, raising the value of our houses, and so on. You can see all the advantages. And please, no flooding under the viaduct like yesterday. So the last time we had that event, by the way, it was 1:30 in the afternoon on Wednesday. And Drew got a call from Lisa Leoli, our superintendent, where she said, I don't know what to do with kids. They're in school. We cannot go to the grocery store. We cannot go to the hospital. We have many people who want to go home right now. We don't want that. We will be done in 2028, end of summer 2028. This is our last phase, segment 3. You might have noticed that using Green Bay Road right now is very difficult. It is another major project for the village of Lake Bluff. That project has been in the works for about 5 years. The basic point is to redo Green Bay Road all the way to the ground. Redo all the infrastructure, redo all the stormwater, redo all the clean water pipes. We had too many people getting flooded. We had too many issues of utilities. You might see You might see sometimes trucks from the village on 176 on Green Bay. Every time that happens, it's $25,000. We couldn't do that. And so that project has been waiting. So I'm incredibly grateful to the communities of Westers and Easters for taking detours, being having with all the dust that is created, even though we are trying to manage that dust. We will be done at the end of summer. Okay, that will be the first phase from Witchwood to, November, summer, November. Global warming, late summer, Indian summer. So we will be done with the redo of that road all the way to Witchwood, from 176 to Witchwood. Next year will be the bridge. We will redo the bridge. And we have the financing for that. We'll be getting that done. And the cost, the total cost for that project, for the road and the bridge, is $3.7 million. Last is 176 and 41. That exchange is a problem. The first time I took it, I nearly died. I thought there were 3 lanes. There were 2 lanes. That was not great. And there were 2 trucks. So that has been a concern for many people. And we have been pushing the state. This is a favorite project of our state representatives, Senator Morrison especially, where we need to redo that exchange. That plan is going to take 20 years. Okay, that plan is having multiple phases. The phase you have probably seen in the last 2 years was to relocate utilities. Today it is to create the pump station that takes the water under the bridge and moves it to the Skokie ditch. So all the pipes are moving the water, and that pump station is basically at the intersection. And in 2028, we'll then do the exchange. That will be a major redo of that intersection. The village is there assisting the state. The state is in charge of the delivery of the finances of that project. So again, we have to be patient.
Okay, home stretch. Other key initiatives. So this was kind of the brainchild of Police Chief John Burke. He realized the old police blotter kind of outlived its usefulness. It wasn't really helpful for anything other than cocktail conversation or conversations in the parking lot. But it really wasn't using all the available data we have as a city to make that readily available to our residents. So he created this crime portal that's interactive. It identifies every police activity that's taken place. It's updated monthly. So when you go on there, if you want to zero in on your neighborhood, you have 12 months of data. So if at your last conversation with your neighbor, you heard somebody's car got stolen, you can go in and find out the time, the place, the neighborhood, because some of these knuckleheads that come into town, they kind of go to the same neighborhood. And by the way, just a little public service announcement. When you leave your car open with your wallet in it, chances are it's going to get stolen. Particularly when these guys have gotten so much smarter, they realize if your rear view mirrors are not pulled in, because all newer cars, when the car's locked, those rear view mirrors pull in. When they see the mirrors out, they're like, chances are the car's open, so they stop and away they go. So anyway, this has been a new addition. Feedback's been great so far, but we're constantly upgrading that. One other element that I want to share from a police perspective is the city just made a commitment at our city council meeting to invest in a Brink drone that's directly connected to the Glenview Dispatch Center. So that's designed to support first responders. I'll give you a clear example. When a 911 call comes in at the beach and there's a swimmer in distress or there's some kind of event, the drone will immediately be dispatched. This is going to be put on the top of the current public safety building. It will be a bird's eye view, literally, of the situation and the circumstance to give the first responders kind of a heads up as to what we're getting into. That's even more important if there's an accident on 41, and we have numerous ones on a regular basis. They know how many cars are involved, how severe it is, how many ambulances they need. If they need added support, they have the ability to do that too. So we just made that investment through a 1-month trial program. It'll be great to get the feedback from the police chief and all our other first responders as to how helpful it is. But it's a great addition to, what is a priority of public safety in Lake Forest. Okay, Upcoming events. This is the fun stuff. We still have our summer concert series through August, every Thursday. Lake Forest Day is next week. So my favorite beer garden will be open Tuesday the 4th that evening. Then we kick off with actual Lake Forest Day on Wednesday the 5th. It's our 5K run and then parade. Go Lake Forest Walks. This is a project that our Parks and Recreation Department took on, which is encouraging people to go out and walk our community like 30 minutes at a time. So whether you're at the beach, you're at Elawa, you're at Deer Path Park, or you're in your favorite neighborhood, it's designed to get people outside, take a break, improve health and wellness, take your kids with you, and discover all those things that are great about Lake Bluff and Lake Forest. And then lastly, we have our art fair for Labor Day weekend through the Deer Path Art League. And then lastly, movies in the park. So we have Jaws that will be seen at the beach on September 11th. And then we have E.T., which will be shown in October at the golf course. So please spread the word. Love to see you there. And thank you for your time.
Last, also having fun here in Lake Bluff. You should have received that pamphlet in your mail if you're in Lake Bluff. We sent about 3,000 of them. This is the schedule for our summer. Last weekend was our bicycle race. I believe it was quite fun. A lot of people attended. A lot of people were on the sides looking at the race. I was visiting my parents. I wasn't here. I'm sorry, but I saw the end of the Tour de France. And so next, what we have in Lake Bluff is the Chamber of Commerce sales celebration. We have the brewery block party. We have 3 of them, actually. We have a fireworks celebration on September 12th. We have a Rip Fest on October 3rd. We have, please visit. This is the list is right here. Yeah, always the basic point is the plans we have put in action to make Lake Bluff welcoming is happening. It will be a space where you can be. It is safe. It is the green. It is block 1. It is block 2. It's the brewery. It is the Scranton Avenue. This is what we want. This is the type of community we want to be, and we have executed on that promise. Let's have fun. Say hi, smile, shake hands. This is Lake Bluff. And this is along with our next slides, our History Museum, the group led by Kathy O'Hara. This year is the Lake Bluff 250. This is all the events that we have in Lake Bluff. That can go for concerts on the green. That can go for podcasts. Again, that is we have a website that is LB Style 250. Kathy, is that the website? lbstyle250.com. That has the current events happening. For me, it's a revival of the camp days. I've assisted to a few events. I thought it was wonderful. This is where Lake Bluff was created. This is a community by the lake. We're friends, we're neighbors. We want to be here. We want to spend a good afternoon listening to a speaker. We want to see people singing. This is Lake Bluff. And that is what that series of event is for the celebration of our 250. So thank you to the museum for doing that, Kathy. I think we're done. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you both so very much. We know that some of you have questions, and what we do is the speakers are available after now to be able to answer questions, and you'll see people around the room that maybe answer your questions. If you see the uniform, obviously public safety can answer that question for you. But please feel free to network. That's what we're about. And I also wanted to do a shout out as we talk about the 250th to all the people, the businesses that participated in our celebration of independence, ENTS. We've had 42 businesses who have participated in that, and it was our great pleasure to showcase them, and we're very happy to do that. We currently have around 450 members, and we want to make sure that you're all out there and you're promoted, and what wonderful communities we have. If we could just give everybody another round of applause, anybody who's in this room. Thank you all for coming. Be sure to take your copy of the community guide. We have extra copies available. Let us know if you need some. You can come to the office to get them. Thank you so very much, and thank you to our speakers.
Thank you, Joel.